back to IGN Live at E3. Now, before we move on, don't forget to check out and subscribe to our two main YouTube channels, IGN and Start. Both have great content, and I'm not just saying that because they pay me. I really do like the content. Up next, we have Crysis 3. New York has been abandoned, and the old city has seen better days. Let's take a gander.
Welcome back to IGN Live. I'm Mitch Dyer. I'm here with Rasmus Højengård, whose name I have just butchered, and I apologize. He's here from Crytek to show off Crysis 3. What are we looking at?
So we're looking at a level called Dam Busters, which is about 1/3 into the game, maybe 1/4 into the game. Your objective is to blow up this huge dam called in the mid that Cell Industries, which is one of your antagonists, has built in the middle of New York City, and that thing powers a piece of Ceph technology that Cell has hidden deep underground, which channels the energy that it gets from the dam into a tremendous amount of more energy. So much, in fact, that they can globalize energy distribution, which is, for a sinister, greedy corporation, a really bad thing, except for them. So you need to make sure that doesn't happen and blow it up.
Great, well, let's take a look. And we're just going to address right up front, we're having a bit of audio issues, so you're just going to get to take a look at Crysis. But it's looking good. You know, we're 1 sense down, no sound. Maybe it'll enhance the visuals.
We can hope so.
That's science, right? That's how it works.
Yeah. Let's agree on that.
Great. All right, so this is the dam. This is the demo we saw during the EA press conference, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so here's kind of like a VVV point where you can see what it is you're supposed to do. Here's not any action, it's just kind of like a visual briefing of what you're supposed to do, and there's going to be a little bit of a teleport here, and it's not going to be like in the full game, but we skip a section.
Sure, yeah.
So it's just so that people get an idea of what it is you're heading towards. And here you see one of the new weapons. It's this signature bow that Prophet has. It's kind of interesting because Prophet, being the most high-tech piece of weaponry in the world, matching him up with a bow and putting him in this jungle setting as a hunter just seemed like a really interesting high-tech meets low-tech meets high-tech again, because it is, after all, a pretty high-tech bow.
Yeah.
So,
and it's the first time in Crysis you can actually use a weapon while cloaked without decloaking.
Yep.
And that's how have you guys been using that to your advantage for stealth encounters?
Well, it just means that stealth has a completely different meaning. It's very important for us that you feel empowered in this game, because you cannot feel like a hunter if you're not empowered and feel like you're on top of the situation. So both in terms of how the levels are laid out and all this, and then the fact that you can fire this while cloaked, and even if you decloak, the levels have so much verticality and horizontal gameplay in them, or layout in them, that you can always kind of get away from this nasty situation and try again. That's just been really, really important. Obviously, it cannot be a golden path where you can just run through with a bow and kill everything.
Sure, yeah.
So we have countermeasures, and at some point it's going to be more easy to take the cloak, like the stealthy approach, and other places it's going to be less easy. I would say this level is probably somewhat in between. You can both take like a guns blazing approach if you want, and you can also stealth, or you can combine, or whatever. We don't really encourage either. But in other levels in the game, you will have places where it's very visually encouraged or tonally encouraged, and maybe you should stealth here. And in other places, again, maybe it's more encouraged that you should blow up something big time here, because that's what you're going to do.
We're seeing a bit of that here with the explosive tipped arrows. What else do you have for the attachments for the arrows?
So yeah, the only one you can fire cloaked is the standard arrowhead, which is kind of like this razor sharp metal thing. But you can equip it. Like right now, we're talking about 3 others. There's going to be more. One is kind of like an electric charge one. You will see it later in the demo, where when you fire it in the water, you can take out and incapacitate multiple enemies at once, because the current spreads in the water. Then there is kind of like a sticky grenade type thing that will stick on the guy who will panic. He will run towards other guys maybe and blow up a lot like that. Kind of a little bit funny looking. It's interesting like that. And then we have kind of like a proximity mine thing that just explodes on impact when you fire it. And obviously all the ones that are a little louder you can't use while cloaked. It will be like a regular weapon, albeit it has different functions compared to the regular weapons in the game, right? So it's a little bit of a very, very expensive high-tech Swiss army knife, if you will, right? The bow, it's kind of what it works like.
You guys are 3 games deep right now with Crysis 3, so you obviously have a very good understanding of how this character works. Is it still kind of is it easy for you guys to balance that empowered hero with difficult encounters, without making it too easy?
I mean, it's kind of like a hard question to answer, really, right? Because it all boils down to, one, the team really knowing what it is that they want to do, knowing the franchise, having experience with history. Every time you add new stuff to it, obviously you have new balancing issues, and you need to make sure, when you broaden the functionalities that you have, you need to make sure that you don't, again, make golden paths and stuff like that. But when you have really talented guys working on it, yes, it might be challenging, but they will always come up with something really cool that works well. And you know, I think the biggest challenge right now, or one of the big challenges right now, is to figuring out how powerful can we actually make this bow without it being the one thing that people use all through the game. Because there's so much other cool stuff also, and we, you know, obviously if people then gonna play the game again with that other stuff, that's great. But we know also that a lot of people just play a game one time through, if even that, right? So we really want them to experience a lot more stuff in the game.
Yeah.
Right?
The Typhoon's a great example of that. That gun is no joke.
No, that is a no-nonsense assault rifle. It's kind of like a very portable minigun, if you will.
Right.
I mean, it fires 500 rounds per second, and now we have visual tracers on it, and the particle system has been enhanced a lot over the past week here. So when you fire it indoors, it's just this huge fireworks fest. So it's a very fun gun to shoot because it's so dramatic. Obviously, it fires so fast that you need to be a little conserve your ammo a little bit, otherwise it's going to run out very, very quickly. But it's a really fun weapon to fire, and also the alien grenade launcher that CJ is going to pick up, I think, a little later, is interesting as well, because that's also a completely different flavor. It's kind of like a ballistics grenade, and it has huge impact, not very precise, but it's very dramatic, and it has a big area of effect, right? That's another really interesting weapon.
It's fun to watch someone play Crysis 3, because I've played this area and I played it very differently. I tried to play as sneaky as possible. I was hacking turrets, which is new.
Yeah.
And I'm watching now, and it's very assault heavy. He's just ripping that turret off the ledge there.
Yeah.
How do you play Crysis 3? What's your method of
Well,
play?
the way I play generally is a little bit like CJ does here, to just try out different stuff. I like the idea of pulling a lot of attention to myself and then getting that attention away from myself again, right? Like kind of the whole like, where did he go kind of, right?
Sure.
Make a lot of noise and make sure that I then hide and stealth, and then take someone out stealthily, and then make a lot of noise again, So you can see breakable environments here again. You can shoot down the trees and you can destroy the trunks, and basically it's very important for us to make an environment that seems very alive. It should never be static. Even if you stand still and don't do anything, it should feel alive with little frogs jumping around and stuff like that, right? So put a lot of effort into the attention to detail in the game on every level, both obviously in the scale, it's very large, but also if you just stand and look down at the ground, there needs to be stuff going on all the time. When you climb around in the air-conditioned vents a little later on, you'll see little beetles walking around it. And another thing that is a really nice detail is you will sometimes see little glares in the visor.
Right, we got a really good look at that at the beginning.
Yeah,
when he's looking out from the dark into the sun.
Exactly, so you really get this feeling that you have a visor in front of you, and the whole lens flare and glare system is very cinematic, and it really adds to the perception that you're wearing a helmet, but without being disruptive.
Right. All right, well, it's looking awesome. It's gorgeous, running on the same engine as Crysis 2, correct?
Yeah, well, fundamentally yes, but it's been enhanced since then. There's new features added to it, and even as we speak, new stuff is being added visually and so on. But fundamentally, in essence, it's CryEngine 3. That was the one that we developed for Crysis 2.
Right. Rasmus, thanks for stopping by. Crysis 3, gorgeous. Looks like a lot of fun. Thank you. Back to you, Naomi.
Awesome, guys. And for my beautiful audience out there, what did you think of Crysis 3? Follow at IGN on Twitter and let us know with the hashtag E3. Coming next, we will refuse to let sleeping dogs lie. Geez, who writes this stuff? Sleeping Dogs, coming next.